Okay, good evening, everyone. I am going to get started now. So tonight I'm going to just talk about my story, explain who I am, and I'm going to explain how my life went from there to there because of this opportunity that I'm going to explain to you tonight exactly what it is, how it works, and how it worked for me. And this is for you to sit there and listen, and you could be watching this on recording, you could be watching it live right now. And it's for you to think many things. Someone may have sent you this recording because they feel that you need to hear it. You might be looking for something right now. You might know someone who's looking for something right now. What I can guarantee is that no one's looking for this. I wasn't looking for this. However, for someone that was in a corporate finance world, and I'll explain a bit about background in a minute, I was burnt out. I had a young family and I was desperate to have more time and more freedom and flexibility. And when I heard how this really worked, I realized this could be the vehicle to making all of those dreams come true. So thank you for listening and being open-minded to taking a look at something, because that's kind of the first step. And when I really understood it, I couldn't unhear it. And that's when my life changed. So first of all, who am I? My name is Emma Bundy. In Arbon terms, I'm someone called a regional vice president, which is just a fancy title to describe the size of my business. And again, I'll explain what that is. But just take me as Emma for tonight. For me, I've had my business now for 9 years, and it's something in terms of my career, it's the proudest thing I've ever done. Now, in terms of my career, when I first heard of Arbon, I was working as a senior manager at a company called PricewaterhouseCoopers. Before PricewaterhouseCoopers, I'd worked at a company called Thomson Reuters. Before that, I'd worked for a company called Deloitte. And I'm reading off these names because these are big companies that you probably would have heard of. So you're probably thinking, if you know what Arbon is already, why would someone like Emma do a business like Arbon? And that's exactly what I'm going to explain tonight, because I loved my career for many reasons. One, I got to travel the world, and I love traveling. I got to be financially fiercely independent. Now, don't get me wrong, I adore my husband, I adore my family life, but I love being financially free from him. and I say that with love because it gives you choice, so much choice. And I want my children to be exactly the same. And but I was looking for something that I was in the process of being quite burnt out. So I'd had that career from the age of 21. I went to university. I fell into project management, which then fell into financial services. And I love what it gave me, but I didn't like what it took away from me. So what it took away from me was time. I spent most of my time commuting to work, traveling on a plane, and very little time at home. So I actually wanted what PwC gave me, but I wanted the time on top. And I never thought there could be a career out there that could give me the potential to earn what I was earning in corporate finance, but to have time freedom and flexibility, and ideally be a full-time parent, because that's really what I wanted to be. So I was introduced to Arbon over 9 years ago by a friend of mine called Nina, who I went to university with. And Nina was someone that you always listened to her, that she always had a good idea. She always had something to listen to. She was always like that at university. So when she approached me with a business opportunity, I was all ears. However, when she told me it was in the health and wellness space, I stopped listening because have hopefully had past tense, had quite a big ego. And I'd worked 16 long years traditionally, working a 9 to 5 to get the career I wanted. How was a health and wellness business ever going to succumb to that? So I must admit, I stopped listening at that point. But what she did was she was the evidence that she could be a full-time mum and grow a massive career of Arbon. And that's when I really, really listened. So it was about a year after that. I'm an ex-auditor, so I also did a lot of research on Arbon. So I felt equipped when I really went to her with a lot of questions. I went to have a lot of questions back in March 2016, and I remember saying to her, could I do what you do? And she said to me, well, that's the best bit. I get to teach you everything I've learned along the way, and I get to handhold you and get you the business that you want out of this. And I went, great, I've got nothing to lose. So I started my business in 2016. cut short to 2.5 years. And I knew that it was possible, but I can't give you any guarantees, and neither could anyone give me any guarantees. But within 2.5 years, I was slowly replacing my part-time income at PwC, and in 3.5 years, my full-time income. To the age of 40, my 40th birthday month, which is October 2019, I'm 46 this year, and I walked away on my 40th birthday month from the 9 to 5. And I've never looked back. And this year will mark 6 years. And Arbonne was the vehicle to allow that to happen. Arbonne was the vehicle to give me choice. And for me, choice is freedom, choice is time. And obviously, money helps to give you that choice, but really it was the time. So now I've explained my story and my background. I'm now going to explain exactly what it is. So I'm going to just share my screen with you, so you can see what exactly I'm talking about. Can you, someone give me a thumbs up, make sure you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, anyone? Yes, thank you, Lorraine. So let's talk about this business opportunity. And like I said, this might be not something you're looking for, but please listen with an open ear, because it's a bit like when you go to a doctor and you get given a prescription. You're not better yet, but you just know that you're going to feel better soon. And this is what hearing this did for me. And it could be someone that you're passing on the baton to. So Arbonne, if you haven't heard of it, has been around now for 45 years. And what I took from that as a business person was the stability. A lot of companies don't survive more than 5 years. So having a 45-year heritage is massive and really unheard of. So that for me was super important. Remember, I'm very risk averse as an individual. So I was looking at all the things that was going to protect me. It was founded by someone called Peter Mork, who was a phenomenal visionary. And what he basically did with Arbonne is he started the first clean brand on the market. One of the very first. He was talking about things that no one was talking about. He was talking about being gluten-free, plant-based ingredients, being vegan, not having any artificial flavor sweeteners, never tossing on animals. And back in the swinging 80s, everyone was doing all of that. So they thought he was a complete nut job, an absolute hippie, but he was an absolute visionary of his time. And now every company in the planet want to be what he set out to be. So we are one of the original clean brands on the market. And it's something very empowering as being part of that. So in terms of why wellness, and why did someone who turned her head away from it come back to it? Okay, because I was someone who didn't understand this industry. I was in one of the biggest industries in financial services. I was in one of the biggest companies in the world. But then when I really looked at this, I understood that wellness is the biggest industry in the world. And why wouldn't you want to be part of that? It is currently a $5.6 trillion industry, and it's expected to grow by 57% in 2 years. That growth is unheard of. And we're seeing it everywhere, because if you go on Instagram, every other post will be someone posting what they're eating, what gym they've been to, what yoga they're doing, what new class they're doing. Every other post is connected to health and wellness. It could be someone walking on grass because they're thinking about mindfulness. It could be someone sharing a book, a personal development book. Everything you see is conditioned for you to understand the importance of wellness. So when I heard about that and I knew the trends, because I'm seeing my nephew, who's only 12 years old, starting his day with a protein shake rather than sugary cereals, and hitting the gym after school on a Friday, not hitting McDonald's like I used to. We can see that the whole world is changing. And for me, I knew that the products that Arbonne offered that had right in the center of this wellness movement, I knew that this business was going to explode. And as I started my business, and now as we live in it right now, it's been exploding year on year on year. I can't deny the fact that the wellness industry is the fastest and biggest industry in the world. So for me, this was something that I knew I had to really take a serious look at. So let's talk about what we offer. We know we're in the best industry. We know we offer products in this industry. So what actually do we offer? So we offer your 101 shop of everything that people are using every single day. So everything from what you use in the shower. So think about today. What have you used today? Have you showered today? Have you washed your hair? Have you washed your hands? Have your kids washed their hands? Has your husband washed his hands? Have they washed their hair? Have they had a supplement today? Have they had multiple supplements today? Have they cleaned their teeth? Have they used deodorant? Have they used moisturizer? Have they used makeup? You can see that the list is endless. So for me, I wasn't actually changing what I did day to day to start a business of Arbonne. I already showered every day. All I was doing was changing my brand loyalty. But what I was doing was changing my brand loyalty for products that were 10 times cleaner and safer. So let's go through that policy very quickly because our main policy is clean, conscious, and connected. So, number one, clean. We ban up to 2,000 chemical ingredients. That is not something that's easy. Most companies would die to have that not allowed this like we have. To put it in perspective, in America, they ban up to 11. Okay, so that gives you the perspective of how good the quality is of the products that we produce. Number two, we are gluten-free, including our skincare, because everything you put in your skin penetrates into your bloodstream quicker than what you eat it. We're vegan certified. We have the PETA ears. Nothing has ever, in 45 years, been tested on an animal, only on human volunteers. Again, that's massive. We don't contain mineral oils, sulfates, anything that's going to aggravate your skin, as well as another 1,800 other ingredients that I can't even list. So on top of that, we are conscious. We have the 2000 list. We also are B Corp certified brand. That's important. If you've never come across a B Corp certified brand, please Google it today. I'm finding more and more as a conscious consumer that I prefer to shop with a brand or a company that have the B Corp certification than one that doesn't. Because what that represents, represents a massive rigor audit that company have gone through every 3 years. They have to do it to make sure that as a company, they put people and planet before profit. It is not an easy certification to have. And I found myself going to a mobile phone shop the other day. I upgraded my phone. I needed a phone cover. There's two phone covers. I remember saying to the shop assistant, what's the difference? Went, they're both the same. Don't know the brand names, but one was B Corp certified. The other one wasn't. I went straight to B Corp certified. He even said that's £1 more. And I said, it doesn't bother me. So I'd rather shop us with a brand that is protecting our planet for the future of my children and their children and their children than shop with a company that isn't. Because now, being that B Corp certified, conscious consumers are only wanting to shop with them. So for me, having that certification is probably one of our biggest certifications that we have, on top of being kosher, halal, and everything else. They're all super important, but the B Corporation just really is what stands us out against the crowd. And on top of that, our other tagline is connected. And that one is a really hard one to explain. But for me, when I started my business, what terrified me the most of having my own business was having my own business. Like, I didn't know how to have a business. I never run a business before. I've been employed. And being employed, although sometimes it sucks, is really easy because you have a contract, you're guaranteed you're going to get paid, you go in and someone tells you what to do. For me, I found that quite simple. Having my own business and working on your own, I thought, one, I was going to be lonely, and two, I didn't know how to do it. But you're part of this whole community where you can literally pick up the phone to anyone who's connected to you in business or not and say, I need help with that. And they're going to say yes. And I've had that for 9 incredible years, a community that constantly lifts you up and champion you. And you're never on your own, but you are your own boss, but you're never working on your own. And for me, that was incredible. So going back to our products, we have everything that you're using as a household today. And for me, this just made sense. As a consultant, you get a massive discount on these products. So I started saving money by having a business of Arbonne because I was getting a massive discount on stuff I wasn't getting a discount in House of Fraser and Tesco's and Boots. I might have been getting my blue basket and getting whatever was on offer, but the products I was buying weren't nearly the quality of what Arbonne were offering. They weren't nearly as safe as what Arbonne were offering for me and my family. So to go from one shop and simply go to my Arbonne shop with my discount just made so much sense to me. So in terms of the products, we have skincare all the way from anti-aging, men and women, all the way down to baby. Sensitive skin, dehydrated skin, everything in between. We have phenomenal nutrition. It all focuses on your gut health, making sure that your gut is sustainable, your gut is processing everything correctly, which then impacts your skin and your mind. And then we have everything in between, from incredible skin infused makeup, which means our makeup is working on our skin as we wear it. And we've also just launched an incredible new hair range. So we have everything that people are buying online and in the shops every second of every day. So all they need to do is shop on my website. So now I've explained what the products are, I'm going to explain how the business works. So for me, I knew this business made sense because this isn't a faddy thing. This is stuff I'm going to buy anyway because we're buying these products whether we have an income stream or not. We never say, oh, it's the 24th of June. I've run out of toothpaste. I need to wait till mid-July to get some more. Generally, no one really does that. We have backup in our drawer. So these are products I knew that people are going to buy whether they have an income or not, because these are the things we live and breathe with every single day. So let me talk about the concept. So when I then heard about this is when I was in, because it made so much sense to me. So we have traditional retail. So we have the manufacturer, the wholesaler, the warehouse where we can store it up to 7 years sometimes when you have parabens, artificial parabens, which makes it have a longer shelf life, which obviously we don't have. The advertising, which takes most of the money, the retailer is the customer. That's traditional retail. In network marketing, we just cut out a lot of very expensive middlemen. We are the manufacturer. I'm living, breathing, my hair care, my makeup, my skincare, my skin's glowing, not because of lighting, because of the skincare, because of the Arbonne I use, nutrition inside and out. I just simply talk about what I use as and when it comes up. And people go on my website, they get a discount. Arbonne take their credit card details and DPD delivered to their door. I don't hold stock. I definitely don't knock on anyone's doors. But why this made sense to me is because unfortunately the traditional retail route is now broken. It's been broken for quite some time. We knew about it, if anyone's old enough to remember, when Woolworths went down the Swanee. I knew at that point that retail was on its way out. It was one of the most successful shops on the high street back then. Then we heard about Marks and Spencer's has gone through multiple rounds. House of Fraser's now gone. This is now common, but the high street is no longer surviving for multiple reasons. One, they can't afford the leases. Number two, because people go to the shops, they find something they like, they go, I'm going to go home, go online and see if I can find it cheaper. So we use it as a window to shop, but we don't actually shop anymore in a high street nearly as much as we did. So unfortunately, we've done it ourselves, the consumer. We've killed the high street and we've made all consumer really online. The other thing is advertising. I don't know if anyone's got children who's listening to this, but when my children have live TV on and an advert comes on, there's uproar because they don't understand that we don't live in an on-demand world all the time. They are used to Netflix, they're used to on-demand, they're not used to watching advertising. But as a customer, we are still paying for it and we're not even watching it. So for me, this made so much sense because rather than paying the wholesaler, the warehouse, advertising retailers, all Arbonne do is they say, thank you for using our products. We're going to give you a great discount because you're going to buy them anyway for you and your family because you need to wash every day. And as a thank you note, if you point people to your website, we're going to give you commission because you are the marketer, you are the advertiser, but not just once, every single time they go shopping. So imagine how many times you've bought the same mascara or the same shower gel, the same toothpaste. And imagine making money every single time you reorder because everything is consumable that we offer. For me, that made sense because suddenly I realized I was doing network marketing anyway. I share books, I share films, I share Ubers. I mean, how many of us have literally made Uber ourselves because we shared the code to create Uber? But Uber only has one head office in San Francisco. They don't own one car. They just have an online platform and they created a network of people using the cars to spread the word. That's Arbonne in the health and wellness industry. So when I understood that, and I understood that if I created a network and simply shared this, and every single time they ran out, because remember these products are premium, they have phenomenal science behind them and clinical trials. And I've had clients buying from me regularly for 9 years because I don't want to buy anywhere else. And I create a passive income and a regular income stream every single time they go shopping. So how does it work? We simply, well, I was taught stop, start, share, because as someone who was so busy, I had no time to do this, but I was taught stop, start, share. So I stopped buying from other people. I was buying from House of Fraser, Boots, Tesco's online, all of those. Can you give me a second, please? Yes. Sorry, solo parenting. Just giving you the real deal, how it works with a family at home and the dog snoring next to you. So you simply stop. I stopped buying from other people and I stopped giving them an income stream because that's all I was doing. And I was doing it every single day, every single month. I started really benefiting from using premium products. Mind leaving, please? I'm on a call. So I started using premium products. My skin changed overnight. My health massively changed overnight as someone that was living off coffee as a diet and really focusing on my gut health. My whole health transformed. Um, and people were starting to ask me what I was doing, and I just simply connected into my website. It couldn't have been more simple. I simply stopped buying from other people, started enjoying the benefits. I simply shared that with other people. And every time they went on my website, I would earn a commission of 15% from my clients. So, how does it work? There's two ways of growing a business of Arbonne. You can do it one or the other or both. And for me, how it worked for me is I remember Nina saying, just get some people around your house, people that you know shower, and I'm going to explain to them the brand that is Arbonne. I was like, okay, I can do that. I know a few people that shower. So I invited some family over, 5 members of my family, and they were all over this brand. One, they'd never heard about it, so everyone loves hearing about a new brand. But two, they were really interested in how clean these products were because they hadn't really been educated before. And some wanted to replace their makeup because they're already running out. Some wanted to use their shampoo. And I started getting a client base. However, what happened, there was 2 members around the table that night. One was my cousin, one was my sister-in-law. And they said to me, they said, is this something I could do alongside being a swimming teacher? Is this something I could do alongside being a hairdresser? I said, yes, it is. Because you recommend stuff all the time, right? They said, yeah. I said, you can make an income by doing that. And both of them wanted something. Both of them loved their careers, but they were in the red every month. They didn't have choice because their careers that they loved, so passion, what I call a passion career, they loved it, but it didn't serve them financially. So always living in the red and living paycheck to paycheck. And they wanted to break that norm. And I get that. So I was like, yes, why not? So then they started their business for £50. They bought their website because that's all it is to start a business. They bought the website and then they started connecting to their network, the products that they started falling in love with. And then they started also building a network of their own and their own. In 2000, I looked at my business. Obviously, we had a bit of time on our hands in COVID. And I looked at my business and I realized by my network sharing with its network sharing its network, that by my business was over 1,000 consumers around the world. Because people were just sharing products they loved, sharing a website link with people they loved. And people are buying products that kept them clean and safe. And for me, that blew my mind because I thought this was a business where you needed to know a lot of people. But actually, it's just knowing about a few people who know a few people who know a few people. Also, in my 9 years, only those two people that I mentioned are still connected to my business today. So I only knew 2% of my business that it stands today when I first started my business. So it isn't about who you know now. It's about who you're going to meet in your future and who they're going to meet and who they're going to meet. So let's talk about where you sit because I've heavily talked about the business, but there's other ways as well. You might look at these products and go, okay, well, I shower every day. I need cleaner products. I'm very conscious about what I put on my skin. I want to get rid of the aluminium, my deodorant, etc., etc. And you might fit in the preferred client category. And for that, you pay a one-off £10 for a year and you get what I call a Costco discount card. So basically, you can shop once a year, twice a year, 10 times a year. It's very much up to you. However, what I've been talking about and what has created a complete life change for me is the independent consultant. And for that, rather than £10, it's £50. One off. That's the risk. £50. And you get a bigger Costco card. And with that Costco card, you get 35% discount on anything on the catalogue. There's no starter order, there's no kit you have to get, but I would recommend you buy some products because you need to be a product of the product. You need to generally have a feeling of what these products make you feel. Do they make you glow? glow? Do they make you get rid of the bloating? Do they, whatever it might be? Because you need to have your own story behind these products. And believe me, once you have that on a handful of products, your business could take over. It did for me. That's exactly how it started for me. And with that as well, you can obviously earn an income. And I'll talk about that in a minute. You can earn incentive trips. It's applicable to anyone. And when I first heard about incentive trips, I knew they were 5-star. I knew they were in the Caribbean or in very, very luxurious places. And I'm a bit of a, I'm not half glass, half full, but when it comes to stuff like that, I'm a very peasant. I'm like, yeah, who owns the trips? I always think Andy Peters and GMTV's knocking on some actor's door. I never believe it. But I never thought that someone like me could earn the trips. And I never did a business with Arbonne to earn the trips. However, I've just earned my 7th trip with Arbonne in 9 years. And believe me, I didn't do it for the travel, but these holidays, Jamaica, Mexico, Dubai, these have created some of my children's favorite memories of their life. So this business doesn't just impact me and my clients and my team, it impacts my family and their friends as well, because it's the memories that it creates them. On top of that, I'm going to talk about a willable asset in a minute when I come to the pay income streams. But on top of that £50, remember, it's a one-off. You get recognition and training every week for free. You have a team every week teaching you what they have learned along the way for you to grab hold of what's relevant to you, for you to make a successful business out of your own business. And for me, the training, the level of training that we get doesn't even compare to what I used to receive in corporate. So let's talk about the earning potential. It's very important. You can earn 35 to 15% commission on your sales. So that's your direct sales. You get paid that weekly. So someone goes on your website, they add a few things in their basket, DPD delivered to their door, you will get paid that the next Friday. Then, if you decide to build a team, you can also earn what's called overrides. So when someone in your team you're helping them earn commission themselves, Arbonne pay you an additional amount on top of their commission as a thank you check, because you're the one guiding them, you're the one coaching them, you're the one mentoring them. And that for me was genius. You are not paid when people join your business. You are only paid when you help people become successful and help them get paid. And for me, that's when I knew I was in. I wanted to help a lot of people. I wanted to create lives of people where they could have choice and freedom and to be with their families they wanted to. You know, my son today at 2 o'clock rang up. He forgot a tablet that he didn't take. I didn't have to ring anyone to ask permission to go to a school because I'm my own boss. I have complete flexibility, and that is priceless. And there's 4 levels of success. So my level is regional vice president. So that's a third out of 4 levels of success, but I'm going to go through it in order. So district manager is the first level of success, and you're earning anything between £200 to £600 a month. Now, at this stage, I would urge you to go to earnings.arbonne.com to see the averages. For me, I'm going to talk about what my averages were. So I was earning really £200 to £600 a month as a district manager. Now, that wasn't going to get me out of corporate, but my average was £500 a month. So £6,000 a month, a year extra. What does that look like to you? Because for me, that was a family holiday, a decent family holiday at that. So for me, earning that within my first 3 months of my business, I knew I was onto something. But did it take a little bit of work? Yes, it did. But I did that alongside my career, and I was working. I was leaving the house at 6:30 in the morning, getting home at 8:30 at night. So I was doing it mainly on a train. The second level is area manager. And area manager, you're earning anything between £600-700 all the way up to £2,500 a month. Area manager for me was something I reached in 10 months. Is that average? No, it's not. But once I knew how Arbonne works, I just kept momentum. Area manager, for me, my average is probably about £1,500 a month. And at that point, I could see the silver lining. I knew that I was now in a vehicle that was going to change my life, because I knew now that I could replace what I was doing in my corporate career with this vehicle. For me, area manager is also super important. It becomes a willable asset. It means your business can be bequeathed to a loved one. And I met someone recently in Vegas on stage who has done exactly that. His mum bequeathed him, his business, and she helped 44 people reach the top level of this business. And she not only just changed all of their lives, but her family's lives as well. And what will happen for him is his children's 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 children, or the wider family's children will benefit from what she started those years ago. So yes, I'm earning an income stream now that pays my bills, pays my mortgage, pays for my flexibility, absolutely. But I'm also creating an asset for the future when I'm not here. And for me, I've never heard of that anywhere else in any other company. The third level is my level, regional vice president. Regional vice president, you're earning anything between 2,000 to 8,000 pounds a month. It's famous because you get a cash award for a white Mercedes or another car of your choice. So I have a lovely car out the front. And for me, that car is important because it represents the business that we created. Because really, other than people's showers, you don't see Arbonne. It's in people's cabinets and bathrooms. Regional vice president, at that point, my life changed. I knew that I had a vehicle that didn't allow me, I didn't have to trade all my time for money. Remember, people are shopping whenever they want to on my website, not necessarily having me involved. And I was also helping people grow their own businesses. So I was still obviously working my business, but I had teams of teams of teams working theirs. And now I was creating a financial stability, but also with time leverage to give me flexibility and time. The last level is National Vice President. And when I say last, it doesn't stop there. As I said, the person I talked about in Vegas, she helped 44 people promote to that level. So really getting to that level means about helping other people reach that level as well. And National Vice President is a game changer. You know, you're starting probably an income stream of 8,000 to 10,000 pounds a month, and it's completely uncapped because anyone could go shopping on a website any time of day across the globe as well. So lastly, where are we? We're not just limited to the UK. We're in America, Canada, Poland, Australia, New Zealand, with blueprint plans to globalize. Now, what this is important to know is this is the most important thing to know about Arbonne. We are 45 years with a lot of heritage, but we haven't even grown yet. So our growth, we can't actually even predict it because it's unimaginable where we'll be when we go into all the other countries. But we're still fiercely growing in the countries we're already in because we only have a 1% to 2% awareness anyway in the space that we're in. So for me, as an opportunity, it is completely endless. So to end, I want to end on a few things that I was thinking when I first heard about this, because I went from, oh my God, this sounds amazing, to this sounds good to be true. I started to talk myself out of it because I'm risk averse, because that's what you do when you think like that. So for me, I remember really thinking about it, and my husband sat down with me and he said, look, what's stopping you? I said, what if it doesn't work? I said, I can't cope with failure. I said, and what will people think of me if it doesn't work? And he said, okay, how much is this business? And I said, £50. He said, what else? You're going to buy some products? I went, yes, because I'd like to, you know, be authentic with integrity. I'd like to buy the skincare. I was pregnant at the time, so nutrition was far down the line. I'd like to try the skincare and the makeup. And he went, okay. And he said, and so if it doesn't work, you'll look younger for the next 6 months. I went, yes, you're right. If it doesn't work, I'll look younger. He went, but what if it does work? I said, I could quit London. I said, I could live a life of my dreams. My children back then, I was pregnant with one and my son was two. And I said, because at the time, my son, I didn't see him. I saw him at weekends. I took him to nursery at 7:30 in the morning and I never made it home for bedtime. And I thought that's how my life had to be until I retired at 65. He said, well, for 50 quid, isn't it worth a shot? So I didn't go into it with the best business mindset. I didn't. But a year and a half later, when we were going on our first incentive trip to Mexico, he turns around to me on his third Bacardi and Coke. And he said to me, that £50 was the best decision you ever made. And I just thought, how amazing that full circle of how that one decision, which almost paralyzed me, created a complete life of my dreams. My family are too young to know when I used to work in London. They don't know about the hours I was never there. They know when I'm here, every drop off, every pickup, every sports day, every important event. And the older they are, I'm even here around now for the really important stuff. They know that they are my priority and my career works around them because Arbonne allows me that choice. And it allows that to everyone I help. So what I would say is the next steps are talk to the person that shared this with you. Or if you're ready, it's £50. Register your business with the person that introduced you. They're going to hold your hand and teach you how to grow this business like I have and like they have. And I really hope to see you again in the future. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.